Welcome back, everyone. Before we begin today's show, I'd like to tell you about the Legends of Health conference. The conference will now be held online due to the coronavirus situation. This is a great opportunity for all of you around the world to join me live online for my 4 life-changing, life-saving events. There will also be 9 other world-leading health lecturers there to share with you life-changing, life-saving information. My first lecture will be Friday, May the 1st, from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it will be called Mind Over Medicine. On Saturday, May the 2nd, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., my 2-hour lecture, and it will be called How to Thrive and Stay Alive on Planet Earth. And then on Thursday, May the 7th, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., it will be called Inflammation is a Scar Tissue Issue. And then on Saturday, May the 9th, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Creating the Perfect Day for the Perfect Life. For more info, please go to docofdetox.com to the events page. There you will find the link to get your ticket at a greatly discounted price of $97. So join me for the Legends of Health webinar series and enjoy today's show. God bless. Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the Doc of Detox show. Today's show is How to Live Healthy to 111 with Dr. George Grant, PhD. Before we begin, I would like to talk about the Legends of Health conference in Markham, Ontario. You will not want to miss this life-changing 4-day event. It takes place from April 30th to May the 3rd. During this time, I will be delivering 4 comprehensive lectures. The first one, on the first day, is How to Thrive and Stay Alive on Planet Earth from 9 until 5. Understand something. If you've always wanted to learn the rules, if you don't want to be ruled, schooled, and fooled, you are not going to want to miss this all-day event. My next lecture will be Inflammation to Cancer, a Scar Tissue Issue. It will be from 2 until 4 p.m. The following day, Mind Over Matter, Mind Over Medicine, from 8 until 9 p.m. And then the following day, Creating the Perfect Day for the Perfect Life from 9 to 12 noon. I will also be speaking on the panel of experts at 2 p.m. that day. Dr. George Grant will be talking on Thursday, April the 30th, all day, 9 to 5 at the Holistic Diabetes Solution Summit. Friday, May the 1st, he has a lecture at 9 until 11 a.m. called Amethyst Healing. He will be running a workshop called Amethyst and Energy Medicine. Friday, May the 1st at 11 a.m. Sunday, May the 3rd, he will be joining us on the panel of experts at 2 o'clock. So let's begin the show. Dr. George Grant is known as the Caring Doctor. George is considered the Canadian authority in integrative functional medicine and a global wellness ambassador. Dr. Grant is an expert in biofeedback, stress, anti-aging, and natural pain management. He is a scientist, professor, chemist, toxicologist, nutritionist, and a pain scientist. He has over 200 published articles, 400 paper reviews, hundreds of conference presentations, book reviews, and 10 best-selling books. And just so everybody knows, I've been following Dr. George Grant for years, and I admire him because he is so well studied and he has a heart of gold. Hello, George. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dr. Dale. Thank you for the opportunity to see you.
Well, listen, the pleasure is mine, my friend. So let's get right into this. Can you tell the audience about yourself, like a little bit about like how you got started and where you are today with your practice?
When I was 18 years old, my mother passed away in her early 40s. My father passed away in his early 60s. I have never seen my grandparents. They died in their 50s. So I came from a family with heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and with all of these genetics it's very difficult to even think about. I'm actually right now 69.9. I'll be on April 30th, 70. So I'm the first one out of probably how many generations, I don't know, who has achieved the age 70. And I'm planning, with God's help, to live extra 30 more, 40 more years to help more clients. I have only 10,000 clients so far to help them on the wellness journey. And thank goodness for the science of epigenetics, because it doesn't matter how bad our genes are, we can express them in different way, either positive or negative. So with all of these bad genes, I do not have any diabetes, I do not have any blood pressure, I do not have any conditions, I do not have any medications, and I feel very healthy. And some of my clients say that I look 10 years younger. I hope you agree with that, Dr. Darrell. I know you for 25 years. I learned a lot from you, by the way.
Well, it goes both ways. You know what? It's called teamwork makes the dream work. And can I ask you a question? Why did you change from your field from studying and teaching allopathic medicine to natural medicine? What was the tipping point that pushed you in that direction?
I was teaching the faculty of pharmacy in Saskatchewan, and I was doing research in the lots of allopathic field. In fact, I was the first scientist in the world, along with two other scientists, who isolated beta endorphins in 1981. And my co-authors are Dr. Wayne Hindmarsh, and he was professor at pharmacy at that time, and he became the dean of pharmacy in the University of Manitoba, and he is currently the dean of pharmacy at the University of Toronto. With also Dr. Sankran, he's a pediatrician at the Faculty of Medicine in Saskatchewan. So we actually did the work together to isolate beta endorphins in vitro for kids who suffer from SIDS, SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. So we were the Canadian pioneers of the beta endorphins, and we got lots of papers published on that field there. Also did the work on PKA of phenobarbital, lots of allopathic publications. But then, because of my family history, I said, I'm looking for something now to help me to live longer and healthier. The medication is not the case. So, in fact, Dr. Daly, remember when we met 25 years ago, I was talking about our logo, which is we care, we serve, we educate. We do not medicate, we do not operate, we do not irradiate, we do not vaccinate, and we do not irritate. Why? Because I found from studying allopathic medicine that every medication has side effect. I'm actually a toxicologist. So I study toxicity of all of the medications that are being prescribed right now. I get clients, let's say we'll be taking statin medication like Zocor, Lipitor, Provocol, and I found that not only destroyed their CoQ10, it causes non-alcoholic fatty liver. It can cause uric acid in the kidney. The side effect exceeds the benefit. So we look at benefit and risk. And if the risk exceeds the benefits, why would you bother if you can do something like what you do recommend for your clients, and Dr. Brian recommended for his clients, is that give them like omega-3, give them phytosterols to block the LDL cholesterol instead of taking the side effect. So I start to look at the side effect of blood pressure medications, diabetes medications, cholesterol medications, and I said, this must be a better way. So the turning point was when I started to study this, I came up with about 6-7 books on the all-in-one guide to remedies and supplements, which you have a copy of. And then when I studied the all natural remedies, I found out that sometimes even using turmeric, ginger, green tea, bromelain, resveratrol is much better than actually the medication. So I helped so many clients, Dr. Darrell, to reverse the diabetes, to reverse the blood pressure, and all of the chronic condition, including MS, fibromyalgia, lupus, even 99% clogged arteries. You've seen the case study that I've done at Sunnybrook. I do not work for Sunnybrook. I'm not a cardiologist, but I had a client who has 99% clogged arteries, referred by one of my co-author, and they had tried 3 bypass surgery, 3 stents, and 27 meds, 27 medications over 27 years, which no help, and he has tachycardia, arrhythmia. By changing his diet and lifestyle, by following your advice on detox, he's now reversed his clogging arteries to under 40%. And he's still living. We're talking about 1999. 20 years later, he's still alive after losing hope, and he's been sent to hospice to die because they could not do another medications or another surgery. So this actually was a turning point to share with my 15,000 clients at LinkedIn, 5,000 clients on Facebook, and 10,000 clients coming to our wellness center to teach them how to switch from allopathic to naturopathic to follow integrative medicine, functional medicine, and lifestyle medicine. That was the turning point.
You know, I think you're amazing, and I'm so blessed that you have such clarity, and it's kind of the craziest thing, don't you think, Professor, that most of the world is opting for synthetics, and and we're actually our healthcare is based on synthetics, and nobody recognizes this, but you recognized this years ago and made the shift. Now, you know what? I think that in your case and in my case, my grandfather, when I was 17 years old, died of colon cancer. That gave me a real wake up call. You know, trying to do, when you're 17 years old, trying to do an enema for the first time on your grandfather that's impacted. And then both my parents both passed away of cancer before they were 55. So, you know, I think my grandfather and my parents blessed me with something, you know, and that was a wake up call. And I think that it would really, really great if we didn't have to have such a wake up call. But I think we're all programmed. We're all programmed for corporate America and buy into everything. I think we're all set up, and we're all set up, and it's like we try. Medicine tries to take a shortcut, and we end up getting cut. You know, and I love your philosophy because that's why we get along so well, I think, and is about training your patients to learn how to be patient with themselves and to learn how to discover their body, and that, you know, where their mind goes, their body goes. And I hear you talking at lectures that I go to, and I just, I applaud you for that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Darrell. It's an honor to hear that. I have no problem with medications, although they come from synthetic source, as you said, but the only way they can patent medicine is they have to be synthetic. They cannot patent herb. So I don't have any problem with, you know, the current healthcare system. We call it healthcare system, but it's actually, to be honest, it's really sick care system, because the medication is not the answer to blood pressure or diabetes. This is from my family history. This is from my parents 40 years ago. I knew that this thing is not the answer. So now, what we need to do now is to find the natural alternative. Now, I have no qualm about using medicine. I think emergency medicine is very needed. But to give somebody blood pressure medication for the rest of their lives, or diabetes medication for the rest of their lives, that's not even scientific. There's no pharmacology literature to say that when you have hypertension or diabetes, you should take medication for the rest of your life. I've never seen this in any published medical literature. So this is what I have some argument about. And I have, as you said in the introduction, I published hundreds of papers, reviewed papers. I worked with Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, and Harvard Medical School in international conferences. And I reviewed the paper. I'm a senior editor of 14 medical journals. So when I see somebody prescribing to my clients medication for blood pressure for the rest of their lives, and their blood pressure is 125 over 85, I have difficulty with that. And I tell them, why don't you tell your physician to wean yourself off the meds? He said, no. They told me, do not stop this medication until you die. I said, okay, just check with your physician if you're 125 over 85. If you just wean one medication, because they're not on one or two, Dr. Darrell, they're on 3 meds and 1 diuretic for blood pressure that is controlled. So if they can wean just one medication and they can cut it back by even 10%, and they see a difference. So I asked one of my clients to do this, and he said that he skipped the medication for 1 day, it's still the same, 120, 125 over 80, 85. He skipped it for 2 days, still the same. He skipped it for 3 days, still the same. He took it for 1 week, only once a week, and it's still 120 over 80, 125 over 85. He went to his physician, and he said, what is great, but take the medication in case if it goes up again. Now, you're a scientist, you're a doctor. Is it common sense? Is it make any pharmacological sense or toxicological sense to keep taking the meds? Because when you take medication, it has side effect. When you take diuretics, it depletes your body from potassium and magnesium. In fact, it can cause a condition called hypokalemia. And when you have low potassium, you can actually get tachycardia and arrhythmia. This is known in the literature. I don't have to invent anything here. Okay, I'm a pharmacology scholar and toxicology scholar. So if you give somebody something to deplete potassium and magnesium, it actually can cause more harm than good. And we all say, do no harm. So taking medication for the rest of their lives is not in my vocabulary. And I try to help my clients to work with their physician because it's illegal in Canada to tell somebody to stop or reduce medications. So I try to work with their own physician. And I have published 6 books with lots of the top physician in Canada. And I have published papers with the top doctors in Canada. And I have no acts to grant against doctors or drug company. I worked for a drug company, including Apotex, for 1 year to develop a drug for prostate cancer, which I do not recommend because of the side effect. But they paid me to develop the drug. I did that. And Apotex is the largest generic company in Canada. And by the way, I have to let you know, Dr. Darrell, you've heard my seminars at the Wolfe conference. I have actually invented a supplement for prostate that is patented, and it's all natural herbs. So you're going to ask me, how are you going to patent an herb? I have developed a matrix, which is called the hyaluronic acid sodium hyaluronate, that's patented in the matrix, and I put all of the herbs in this matrix. So the delivery system is patented, but the herbs in it, nobody can patent herbs. You understand?
Yeah.
So this product works better than the drug that I actually invented back way when, which is still prescribed today. So there's always a natural solution to every pharmacological synthetic agents in the USP, United States Pharmacopoeia. So if you give me any drug, we can have the natural alternative that is so effective, the high efficacy, no toxicity. And this is proven like 7,000 years ago in ancient Egypt, 6,000 ago in India, 6,000 years ago in China with traditional Chinese medicine. They have discovered herbs that works. Do you know that allopathic medicine has been only in existence for 160, 170 years? So we cannot say that medicine is the only thing that exists to reverse disease. That's not scientifically true. So you have to get back to basic, like what you do. You've done the wonderful thing by doing the detox. You've seen your grandfather and you've seen your family history having colon cancer. And you're the best doctor of detox that I know in the world. And I follow your post on Facebook. I follow your stories. I follow your publications. And I learned a lot from you. And I wish everybody in Canada like you and Dr. Brian Gangle and all of Dr. T. Colin Campbell that will be speaking at the Legend Conference right here in Toronto. I hope your viewers would not miss this Legend Conference. Not just because of you and Dr. Brian and myself, but because of the top doctors in the world, Dr. T. Colin Campbell, Dr. Ralph Moss, the Clements. You know, my colleague, that introduced to WOM, I introduced Dr. Brian, Dr. Akbar Khan, he's #1 doctor in Canada to recommend natural alternative to cancer. He uses something called DCA therapy. And when he did this, he was disliked by oncologists, by the College of Physician and Surgeon. I don't want to get into the politics of this, but his DCA therapy has efficacy of almost like 85%. Chemotherapy has efficacy of 5%. You figure now which one he would recommend. He's a physician. He's an MD physician. And he's going to be speaking at the conference. So I would invite all of your viewers. We have a maximum seats of 750 people. I want every seat to be filled, not just because of you, Dr. Darrell, and because your brother Marcel, who I worked with for 25 years, I have all of his equipment, the Victron and all of this stuff, but because Dr. Brian Gangle, he's a genius, by the way, okay? To put all of this thing together alone, and his lecture on frequency, I learned a lot from him, and I've been doing frequency work for 25 plus years. I learned a lot from this man, I'm telling you. So they should come and see Dr. Brian Gangle, Dr. Darrell Wolfe, myself as the last. I'm the last one in the totem pole because I'm the youngest of all of you guys, okay? In knowledge. But all the same age. Seriously, this conference should not be missed. So
I absolutely agree. Everybody out there, I know that some of you can't make it, but like I said before, you know, boat, train, plane, you really want to try to make it to this conference because as Dr. George Grant just said, some of the best people there, it's their research, it's the years of training, and everybody's there to help you unleash the practitioner within yourself to understand yourself. When you finally understand yourself, and you know, Dr. Grant, understand something, and some people may think that sometimes I'm a little harsh, but the reality is that yes, medicine has its place when there's emergency care, but medicine is creating emergency care all over the place. It's going off like bombs, and we know that. And that's the reality of it. And a person is only needing emergency care maybe once a year. I haven't needed emergency care, and I'm not making this up, in the last 20 years, 25 years. I've never needed emergency care. So understand something. When emergency care has taken over all healthcare, which they have, even though more people are now going to natural practitioners than medical doctors, and there's a big threat out there happening because people are starting to understand they have to return to their roots. And I'm going to tell you something, Professor, and that's this. My daughter was in an accident. If it wasn't for medical care, she wouldn't be alive today. But that still does not mean that we need to put that into our daily lives, because everybody was given a body by God Almighty. And the problem is people do not understand their bodies, and they've been taught to attack their bodies, okay, through diet and through so-called healthcare. So the bottom line is that our brothers and sisters out there are being harmed, because being a doctor, it was do no harm. And I don't know about you, but I think that fell off the cliff. So I'm not grinding an axe. I'm talking about the mothers that are crying over their children that are sick, and they're frustrated and they're depressed, and they will go to this doctor, that specialist, this specialist. And guess what? That's why this conference has come about, is because this conference is to empower every mother, every father, so that their children, that we're already told that children are going to live less than 12 to 15 years than their parents, the ones that are only 12 years old right now. So there's a crisis going on, and that crisis is that everyone needs to take massive personal action and give people back their power.
100%. I agree with you fully. And I've seen live in the past 25 years when it came to the WOM conference, how you handle the pain naturally. And I do the same, by the way. I learned this from you. I do bicranial, and I help people to get rid of opioids, because I believe nobody needs Percocet, morphine, OxyContin. They do not work. They just mask the symptom. You just basically cover up the symptom. It's just like having a red light in your car and just cutting the wire so you don't see the red light anymore. So when the red light comes, there's a pain. And the pain is not your enemy. The pain is your friend. So we have to address the root cause, the source of the pain, not to mask the symptom. So I do the bicranial. And I'm happy to tell you, Dr. Darrell, that if you actually look at my rating at ratemds.com, and I'm not even an MD, I'm a PhD. Okay, I have 3 doctors only. Okay, so ratemds.com, I'm rated as #1 natural pain doctor in Richmond Hill and North York, where I have my clinic in Toronto. How? Because I deal with it naturally through bicranial, through finding the root cause of the pain for somebody with fibromyalgia, MS, lupus. I get it from a wheelchair, just using your technique, using bicranial, finding the root cause of the disease and trying to cut back on an opioid. I'm going to make a prediction at your conference call right now. Within 2 years, by the year 2022, the opioid will be replaced by cannabinoids. And you can quote me on this. And why? Because, yes, I know it's $50 billion industry, but it's going to be totally replaced because the customer is going to be asking for natural cannabinoids instead of opioids. There's no side effect, and it works. And they're going to be asking for your treatment and my treatment, the bicranial, which is all natural, non-invasive. Like, the truth has to come. You cannot suppress the truth for longer. Yes, we need emergency medicine. We have no axe to grind. But then why do you use opioids with all of the side effect, all of the addiction? Teenagers here in Toronto, they're using opioid in the street. It causes problem. We have a huge problem in Toronto right here. I'm sure the same thing in British Columbia, in Vancouver, and also other places. So we have to look at the deep root cause of this problem instead of trying to mask the symptoms.
Absolutely. And the reason why you're so successful is you don't try to manage pain. You teach people how to master their pain, because, like you said, pain is a GPS, and you know, for anyone to try to kill their pain means they're trying to kill themselves. So, and that's what you just said about the opioids, because guess what? Those opioids were allowed to get to the streets. We're allowed to give to everyone because guess what? I don't know about you, but you know, I'm going to be talking about this, and I know that you talk about it too. And we are emotionally crippled society today, And because we're
Yes.
so emotionally crippled society, and we're set up that way to be so emotionally crippled, that
Yes.
we need these opioids and all these other things to numb ourselves out, because we have never been given the tools to master our own mind.
100%. You're absolutely correct. We're emotionally crippled because we cannot handle the stress. So when we have a stress, we take sleeping pill. We take pain pill. Pill for every ill. It's not the answer. You cannot mask symptoms. Please go to academyofwellness.com. I've been doing this since 1980, for almost like 30, 40 years now. I've been doing this. Okay. So all we do is we care, we serve, we educate. Like what you're doing, Dr. Darrell. That's what Dr. Brian is doing. That's what Dr. Colin Campbell is doing in Cornell. It's all about waking up these crippled, emotional human beings until they wake up. So our job is to wake them up from this coma. It's almost like they've been hypnotized.
Well, they have been hypnotized. Okay,
Yes.
we're being hypnotized through everything. I mean, I want everybody to just go look at Hulu, HULU, do some
Yes.
research and find out you're being hypnotized through your TV, you're being hypnotized through your phone. Why, George, I know we're getting off topic just a little bit, but why, George, do you think that there's a TV everywhere now? And that happened over the last 3 years. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. It's called programming, isn't it? So it's a download.
Yes, download. And that's why you see commercials at night about drugs. I have no problem with commercials, but by the FDA, they have to actually, by the way, I did work for Health Canada in Ottawa, and I have MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the FDA and the CDC. So I can tell you this. The FDA actually stipulate that the drug company have to tell the side effects. But let me ask you this. If somebody actually watch any commercial about any drug, and the side effect is this, if it has this, ask your physician. You know what? I prefer to have the disease because I can actually reverse the disease. But if the person takes multiple medication, like the guy was taking 28 meds, I have to work on reversing his medication. He had 99% clogged arteries. He was eating 6 strips of bacon and 3 eggs fried in the bacon fat. I told him, is it once a week? He said, no, every day. I said, for a year? He said, no, for 27 years. Just imagine this. Somebody eating, they have 99% clogged arteries, they're eating bacon and eggs, taking 27 meds. And I asked him, how much water do you drink? He said, I don't like water. I drink diet soda. Because doctor told me, because I have diabetes, I drink. Now, I told him aspartame. I don't want to get into the FDA approval for aspartame because that's going to be political. But I'm going to make this public. I asked scientists at the FDA in Washington, D.C., how did you approve aspartame? Where is the scientific toxicological research? Where is your LD50? Where is the TI, therapeutic index? You know what they told me? It was political, not scientific. So Monsanto tell FDA to approve aspartame, and that's why I approved glyphosate for the public. And how many of your listeners or viewers know the side effect of glyphosate? Toxicological, long-term, acute toxicity, chronic toxicity. I'm a toxicologist. I'm sure you know this. I'm sure every doctor knows this. But they don't inform their patients. We're totally hypnotized. We're totally blindfolded. We have to get this eyes open for our clients, and that's why they have to come to a Legend conference. Maybe I sound very passionate about this, but when I lose my mother at age 18, and when I lose my father before the age 60, I never see my grandparents. This is why I speak with passion about this.
Well, it's like this, okay? Your story is just like almost everybody else's story. And you know what? I need everybody to understand this. Yeah, I'm passionate, but the reality is this. There's a war going on, and there's not just a war for money. There's a war for souls. And I'm telling you right now, everybody needs to understand something. Unless you're going to learn how to honor, respect, protect, and love yourself first and foremost, and put a line in the sand and know what type of vibration that you want in healthcare, then there is no care.
100%. I would beg your viewers to go to academyofwellness.com and click on Wellness IQ, because there they're going to see what they eat, what they don't eat, what's eating them, what kind of medication they're using, what's side effect of the medication. I teach my clients to go to, there's a very new search engine called Google, that you can actually go to, we put the name of the medication there, and you get pages of side effect. When the client sees this, come back and say, how come my doctor didn't tell me this? I said, because they do no harm. I'm sarcastic, because you and I have the same oath from WONM, we do no harm as well. But if the patient sees 3 pages of side effect of PPI, the protein pump inhibitors, like Nexium, Pentalog, that can cause dementia, which one do you want, acid reflux or dementia? In fact, you can actually reverse your acid reflux taking baking soda, apple cider vinegar, and lemon juice, a little bit of turmeric. We do not need PPI. Okay, I'm not here against any drug company. I'm not against any physician, but there's common sense approach, Dr. Darrell, which you do have. But unfortunately, common sense for some physicians is uncommon. So why would you give somebody PPI to cause high cholesterol, high LDL cholesterol, and to cause dementia? This is a side effect of PPI. Why do you give somebody statin to destroy the liver, to destroy CoQ10? And every cell in our body needs CoQ10. Every cell, because cells mix tissues. Tissues mix organs. Organs mix systems. In natural medicine, you and I know that we have to work from the bottom up, not from the top down. Because in allopathic medicine, they use systems only. So we have a physician for every system. We have a neurologist, and we have an endocrinologist, and then we have hepatologist, and then we have, like, seriously, as if the body is compartment, and every physician work on this compartment only. Your approach and my approach, Dr. Brian's approach and Dr. T. Clement approach is to look at the whole body as a whole, from the bottom up, not from the top down. That's what we do in the academyofwellness.com, which you're part of it, and you've been supporting this for 25 years with us. So if we go back to basics, and if your patients and your viewers complete the Wellness IQ at the academyofwellness.com and see where is their score. If their score is 50%, you have to do something about it before you go to the physician. Because this is the best way to prevent disease is to look where you are right now. It's the GPS. This is a true GPS right there. Because I believe personally that prevention is better than intervention. I believe that self-care is better than crisis care. I'm sure you agree with me on this, Dr. Darrell. And I believe that we can actually reduce hospital visit by 70% if we teach people how to take care of their body, their mind, and their souls. We call it PMS, physical, mental, and spiritual. If we have that, we reduce our healthcare cost in a few billions. Would you agree with me, Dr. Darrell?
I would totally agree with you. And if I can add something, I truly believe that you can only be as intelligent as the beliefs you have in your head. And that's why we're in big trouble, because people are programmed, and, you can only be as healthy as the beliefs you have. And you can only be as healthy as the beliefs that you buy into. And understand something, when it comes to natural care, we don't have the we don't have the money for the advertising. We don't own the radio. We don't own the TV waves. But what people need to understand is if they don't return to nature, to their natural source, then we're all going to be in trouble. I mean, 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease, Professor, and it's not getting any better. So, I don't have an axe to grind, but I will tell you one thing. I'm not going to just sit back and just allow what's going on here, because this is, like I said earlier, there's a war going on, and we have profit before people, and that is quite obvious. And that's why, you know what, you give your information out, you teach. I want to see the rest of I want to see the health system, all health systems, start giving everybody back their power. And that's the deal.
You can see actually on the academyofwellness.com a section called fibromyalgia. And in this fibromyalgia, I've been doing fibromyalgia research for almost like 35 years now. Just to let you know, we were the first scientists who isolated the biomarker of fibromyalgia called 2,3-DPG. Because usually doctors, when somebody comes to them with fibromyalgia, they say it's all in your head. Take amitriptyline, take Prozac, take sleeping pills. It's all in your head. It's an autoimmune disease. It's like, and then what they do is they put them on methotrexate, which is a cancer drug, without actually measuring homocysteine or hsCRP. So now I have an axe to grind here. If you give somebody methotrexate without supplementing with folic acid, B12 and B6, you're doing harm, and you know that. Any physician know that. So they have to measure homocysteine. However, when I ask my clients to go to the physician and measure homocysteine, which is a biomarker for autoimmune, because autoimmune starts from the thymus. I'm sure you know this, Dr. Darrell. In fact, I received $1 million from the government of Canada when I was working at Health Canada to establish the first fibromyalgia conference. I invited scientists from all over the world to discuss about this autoimmune disease. Likewise, anything like autoimmune, like MS, lupus, Lyme disease, we discussed all of this in our conference, and we came up with a conclusion that fibromyalgia is not something in the head. It is an autoimmune. It's a physical conditions. It comes from either car accidents, or it comes from any problem with sometimes Epstein-Barr virus, sometimes infection. Sometimes actually it's all about the gut microbiome. In fact, you happen to know now that Cleveland Clinic in Ohio focus more on gut health than allopathic medicine. It's called the functional medicine. So when we did all of this back, it was in the early 90s, 1993, when we did this fibromyalgia conference. You can see all of this on my academyofwellness.com under fibromyalgia. There is no need for methotrexate. There is no need to give them Effexor or amitriptyline. They are not depressed. They are depressed because they cannot sleep. And this, by the way, did you know that 75% of people cannot sleep? They don't have the REM sleep. So we cannot give them sleeping pills to fix this. We cannot give them methotrexate or Effexor or Prozac to fix their autoimmune disease. We have to look at it from the root cause. Happy to tell you, Dr. Darrell, within 3 to 6 months, our clients reverse their fibromyalgia, their lupus, their MS, and they go to the physiatrist. And instead of a wheelchair, they walk with a cane or they walk. And next time when you come to the WOM conference, in fact, when you come to Legend Conference in April, which is going to be my birthday, by the way, April 30th is going to be my birthday, I'll invite some of my clients to meet with you, and you can do an interview with them, how they reverse the fibromyalgia, MS, even scoliosis. They were hunched like this, and they reversed scoliosis within 3 months. With no opioids, no antidepressant, no sleeping pills. How does that sound for efficacy and no toxicity?
What a beautiful thing. You know, it's like this, everybody. When you come to this conference, we're not going to be spending time on what's wrong. We're going to be spending time on what you need to do that's right. So exactly. That's the whole thing. This conference is about strategies, tools, and techniques. And when you leave, it's about creating the perfect day from the minute you wake up until you go to bed, so that you get the life that you deserve. What do you think, Professor?
100%. I agree with you. The average 30 years old at my clinic, they take 3 meds. 40, they take 4 meds. Every decade, they add 1 med. I cannot see the reason or the logical, there's no reason somebody be depending on blood pressure or diabetes medication for the rest of their lives. So we try to actually ask them to go back to the physician, ask them to change their diet, lifestyle, because after all, we are what we eat, correct? And the average person are not fully hydrated. They do not drink enough water. All of us are supposed to drink half our body weight in ounces of water. All of my clients are totally dehydrated. And guess what? Do you know how many of my clients, Dr. Darrell, have shallow breathing? They do not know how to do the diaphragm breathing. Do you want to guess what's the percentage? Just take a wild guess.
I don't know, probably around 98%.
Yes, 95%. Do not know how to breathe they all breathe from the chest, you're right. So we teach them how to do the diaphragm breathing. We teach you how to do this, and then they can actually prevent and reverse the sleep apnea just by doing this. Because you see, what happened is that they start with snoring, and the snoring, as you know, leads to sleep apnea. It's all because of shallow breathing. So we can just fix their oxygen. If they're fully oxygenated, fully hydrated, and their diet is proper, most of the people do not need medications then, because their blood pressure now, by default, is going to be controlled. Their blood sugar is controlled. Both my parents and grandparents have diabetes. I don't have any diabetes. My hemoglobin A1C is under 6.3. My blood sugar is controlled. Everything is fine. Even though I have genetics with bad genes, but there's, of course, I'm sure you know about the epigenetics, how to express your genes. I have none of this problem. So we can reverse diseases naturally by focusing on the whole person, by looking at what's right and not what's wrong, by managing the root cause, not to mask symptoms. Yes.
Wonderful. You're amazing. I just want to say that. So, what are you going to be speaking at the conference? Why don't we tell everybody what they're in for if they come to see the great professor?
We're going to be speaking about diabetes because of my family history, and then I'm going to bring somebody who is actually have type 1 diabetes. Her name is Cheryl Evaniski. Dr. Cheryl Evaniski actually did the diabetes summit, and she's very well versed on diabetes. And not only she's my colleague, she's also my patient. I help her with biofeedback. I help her with managing her blood sugar and help her with her weight and so on. So she's going to be speaking side by side with me on diabetes. And then we're going to have a diabetes summit with famous doctor. I'm sure you know Dr. Joel Furman. I'm sure you know lots of doctors coming with us, and Dr. Brian is going to be with us in the summit as well. So we're going to be actually talking about how to reverse and how to manage diabetes without extra valproate, metformin. Did you know that metformin has been warned by the FDA that it can cause cancer? So if we have a medication which mostly used in the world for diabetes now can cause cancer, which disease do you want? You want diabetes or cancer? Like seriously. I mean, there's so many ways to actually manage diabetes with cinnamon, with chromium, with vanadium, with eating sweet potato, which has high fiber. In fact, you know, Dr. Darrell, the average person come to see me, they use only 5 grams of fiber. You know that we need 25 to 35 grams of fiber, not just to reverse colon cancer, but to reverse diabetes. Because when you have fiber, your blood sugar, you reduce insulin resistance. And that's what we're going to be talking about at this Legend Conference. People fly from Hawaii, from Aloha Land, to come to our conference from every continent on Earth. So if your viewers and listeners are in the GTA, Greater Toronto area here, and do not attend this conference, I consider it a thing.
Shame on them. Shame on them. That's all I'm going to say.
We bring Dr. Brian Gangle brought the best legends, including yourself, in the world to this conference, and they're in Toronto here. By the way, Markham, Dr. Darrell mentioned Markham is just like 20 minutes north of Toronto, so it's in Toronto area. Okay, so Markham, Ontario, is where the conference is from April 30th, my birthday, until May 3rd. We need to bring you in. We need to have that maximum capacity for the fire code, which is 800 people, because you're gonna see Dr. Darrell Wolfe, and you're gonna see his brother Marcel Wolfe speaking, and you do not want to miss the lectures. Seriously, this is one legend conference you should not be missed.
Absolutely. So let me just ask you a couple of questions, okay? If you could start again, what would you do differently with your career? Or do you feel you're right on track? Or what would you like to see differently for your future?
I wanted God to allow me to live more years, to serve more patients, and to travel. I travel the world. And if I had any choice to change in my life, I would change different parents. Because I'm just kidding. I have no regrets about. I would have done the same thing. I would have gone to. I studied at UBC for 9 years. My professor was Dr. William Powery. He's one of the top food scientists in probably not only in Canada but in the world. My other professor was Dr. David Suzuki. And you know something, when you are in the classroom with Dr. David Suzuki, you cannot actually miss any word. This guy is a genius. It's amazing. I've been mentored by 3 Nobel Prize winners. I'm working with 10 Olympic athletes in Canada, 10 in the US, and 10 in the Caribbean countries. I travel a lot to the Caribbean countries. I see lots of people there with diabetes. Did you know that diabetes is the highest in the Caribbean countries because of their lifestyle? So if there's one thing I would change, it's to educate the public much more, to avoid soda, soft drinks. And by the way, nobody should touch high fructose corn syrup, please. And by the way, a calorie is not a calorie. Coca-Cola and Pepsi spend billions of dollars in TV ads to say calorie is a calorie. Calorie is not a calorie. So if your viewers are still using soda, including diet soda, please stop this soda immediately. That's the first thing you should do to prevent diabetes. We're going to talk about this more in the legend. I don't want to take more of your time on this, but watch what they eat, watch what they don't eat, because we're supposed to eat 8 vegetables per day. Go to Wellness IQ. Ask your viewers to go to Wellness IQ, academyofwellness.com, and come and see us at the Legend Conference. And their life, I guarantee, is going to totally change. If no life is going to change after 4 days, I will personally refund their pass, what they paid for. I'll guarantee this. I'm going to do this in public. Just come and ask me. They tell me my life is not changed, and they ask me for the refund. Me, not Dr. Brian, me. I'm putting this offer right there.
What a beautiful thing.
Yes.
So, George, what I'd like to do is I want to welcome you on my show. Maybe after we do the conference, would you come and do a show and we'll talk about more things like this and we'll get into more detail? Would you like that? And then what we'll do is we'll do a Q&A where we'll have people come back on so they can ask questions live a few days later. What do you think of that?
I'm always honored to be in your presence, either as a student or as in your show. I'm honored always to be in your presence, Dr. Dale. Anytime, I welcome that. I only work 2 days a week at the clinic, Tuesdays and Fridays, right here in North York. If your viewers are from Toronto and they are listening to this show, come to see me at 1111 Finch Avenue, West, Suite 401, from 11 until 3. I try to avoid rush hours. And it's complimentary. There's no cost. Just mention Dr. Dale or Dr. Brian, and you don't have to pay any cost. I'll look at your medications, I look at your supplements, I look at all of the stuff that you're doing, and I'll give you 45 minutes of my time to guide you based on my 3 doctorate, 3 master's, 3 bachelor's degrees, and all of the bio that we talked about. And I'm always honored to be with you. Every time I see you at WOM here in Toronto, Dr. Dale, I learn a lot from you. You are the best when it comes to detox. You're the best when it comes to informing the public. If we can clone you to have 20 more like you and 20 more like Dr. Brian Gangle and 20 more like Dr. T. Clement Campbell, you know what? Our healthcare system would be a true healthcare system, not sick care patching symptoms.
Thank you so much, Dr. George Grant. And I'll tell you, I think you made God smile a little bit. Okay. So, I want to thank everybody for watching, and everybody, you need to really let people know in the Toronto area and understand something. It's a plane ticket, it's a train, it's a bus ride, it's a car trip. Understand something. The information you're going to get from this conference, I think it's going to be the best conference I've ever been to, and I've been going to conferences for a long time. Hey, George, we've been both going to them for how many years? We don't even want to say, do we?
25 plus.
Yeah. Anyways, I want to thank you, Dr. George Grant, for being on the show, and we will have you back on the show because you're brilliant, you're a humanitarian, and it's so beautiful to see. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on.
Everything I know, I learned from you, Dr. Dale. I'm honored to be with you. Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Everybody, just know this, that if you take a look at the top, you'll understand that I have 60 tickets that have been discounted to $97. And if you go to the top link, if they're not gone yet, because I know they're going fast, once they're gone, then you'll be paying the regular price. So this is to all my viewers. If you want to jump on the train and get off the pain train, but get on the joy train, then you're going to want to check that out. Okay? Also, everybody, if you want to also get a quick start, and for information, go to quickstart at docofdetox.com. I have a 6-point step for you to get quick start and learn how to start creating that perfect day. I also do a live Q&A on Mondays, every Monday, and we also have a Doc of Detox show every Wednesday where I have a special guest come on. And when you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe below and make sure you click on the bell to enable notifications so you never miss a show. And also understand something. All of our shows are time-stamped. So you can go to where there's been specific questions maybe you asked or that are answers. We timestamp everything on YouTube, all right? And don't forget, on YouTube, you can actually put in any language transcribed at the bottom so that you can share this with anybody around the world. And understand something. If you're not doing things to help to educate yourself to become your own practitioner, then you're going to fall down. Did you ever notice something? The longer you get treated, the more you get mistreated. The sooner you get trained, okay, and that training must come first on because where the mind goes, the body follows. So you must learn not to react, but take massive personal action and understand something. The invisible is the most powerful thing, which is your thoughts. So start putting a little mini you on your shoulder. Start watching what you're thinking, watching what you're drinking, watch what you're eating, and understand something. It's your God-given right to be healthy, wealthy, and happy. Don't forget to join us at this conference. It's coming for you. And this is the information that changes lives. Again, I want to thank Dr. George Grant for being on my show. God bless everyone. And never forget, 3, 2, 1, you got this. Take it back. If you're looking for life-saving and life-changing information, well, you've come to the right place. Don't forget to click and subscribe. Stay connected.